Welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen, where I eat to live and not live to eat. Today I'm going to be making a vegan brisket, Texas style that is. So if you're interested in seeing my recipe, stay tuned and I'll show you. All right, guys, I have been put to a challenge to come up with a vegan brisket. My husband's been telling me to do this, and I'm like, okay. So out of the blue today, I said I'm gonna make this vegan brisket. So I just pulled everything out of my pantry that I think will work in this dish. So I'm doing it with you guys for the first time. So we're gonna see how this turns out. So of course, I'm gonna use Vital Wheat gluten. And I wish I had some chickpea flour, but I don't. So I have some almond flour that I'm going to use with that. Because, you know, when you use the Vital Wheat gluten, it gets really tough. And, you know, it's just, so I'm trying to use the other flour to kind of make it a little bit more, you know, where I can mold it and whatever. That word that I didn't say. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So for that, I have some broth, so I just use some of my Better Than bouillon. This is the sauteed onion. I like the sauteed onion. I just mix it in some water, about a heaping tablespoon, and this is a 16-ounce jar, so I mix some broth there. I'm actually going to use some young green jackfruit. So I've already got my jackfruit pretty much prepared. All I did was took it out, broke it down into smaller pieces because I'm gonna mix that in there to give it that meaty texture. I did de-seed mine as I was taking it apart. You know, there's the little pods that's in there. I pull those out. Some people leave it in. Some people take it out of their jackfruit. I just like to take mine out. So that's that. Or you can take it and put it in a food processor and pulse it down. Whatever your style is. I just took mine. It's very fibrous, meaty. So I just kind of shredded it with my hands and have that ready. So I'm going to have a wet batter, dry batter, and then I'm going to kind of combine the two together. So some of the seasons that I think that will work in here, I have some pink salt, I have some black pepper, and so I'm using the Italian blend because this comes with, I think, 3 or 4 different herbs and spices. So it's got the oregano, the marjoram, thyme, a little bit of basil, rosemary, and sage. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that. I have my minced onions. I'm using my vegan organic Worcestershire sauce. I have some reduced sodium tamari. You can use soy sauce, or you can use liquid aminos. You can use coconut aminos. That's all pretty much going to be the same for that. I have a little bit of liquid smoke because I want to give it that smoky taste. I got some mustard because I want to baste it in a little bit of mustard when I put it in the oven, like most people would do their brisket or meat. They rub it with a little mustard, so I'm going to do that for this. Hopefully it works. I don't know. We're going to see. I got some granulated garlic. I got a little bit of cayenne pepper. I have some smoked paprika for the color and for the smoke as well, because I got my liquid smoke for the smoke, but the paprika is going to also kind of transition it to that color of meat that I can use a lot versus the cayenne pepper, which will make it too spicy. Just a hint of chili powder, and I got some ground cumin. Whew, that was a lot of ingredients, right? So, but what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix my dry batter first. So my dry batter, I'm gonna use 2 cups of the Vital Wheat gluten. And then just again, I'm gonna make it with I'm gonna mix it with 1 cup of the almond flour. Again, I would have liked if I had some chickpea flour, but I don't. But I think this will work. They're still both gluten-free. So I'm gonna do that. And we're gonna see how this turns out. Okay, and then in here, let me get my little whisk. Because this will make it easy for me to mix everything. So with my little whisk, just gonna mix that together. So I'm gonna start putting in a little bit of seasonings in here, because I don't really have to do a lot of seasoning in here because I'm actually gonna do it in there. So let me think, how do I want to do this, Cassandra? Because I'm thinking off the top of my head. I don't really put anything in here but my salt and pepper, because everything else I'm putting in my other one. So I'm gonna put a teaspoon of salt, just a little teaspoon, not a lot. I'm gonna put my pepper in here. I'm gonna move these over as I put them in so I don't over season. And my teaspoon of pepper. Okay. So I'm just gonna have this here. And then all my other seasonings are gonna go in my wet. So this is my dry, okay? Set that there. Excuse me. I'm thinking this thing through as I go. So I have my liquid smoke, and again, liquid smoke is just what's going to give it that smoky flavor that we're going to need for a brisket. And I just have, my husband got this brand. He said it's really good. The Figaro brand, Hickory Liquid Smoke, is for indoor or outdoor use. Actually, because what I'm going to do indoor then outdoor, because I'm gonna go ahead and cook it in my oven first, and then I'm gonna take it out and put it on the grill for the last final minutes to give it a nice barbecue char, because it's what they do in Texas, and that's why I call it Texas style. So I'm gonna put a couple of tablespoons of liquid smoke, maybe 3 tablespoons, so I want it to be good and smoky. So I got 3 tablespoons of my liquid smoke. You can smell that. I'm gonna do the tamari. I'm gonna do a couple tablespoons of my tamari. This is reduced sodium tamari. Again, this is similar to soy. 2 tablespoons of that. And then I'm gonna do my Worcestershire sauce. This is my vegan Worcestershire sauce. It's Wanjianshan. I got this at the Asian market. And it's gluten-free, vegan. So we're gonna try that. I'm gonna do a couple tablespoons of that as well. Okay. And then we're gonna mix in our Italian blend. Let me dry this off, because I'm gonna be using the tablespoon for this as well. And I'm just all thinking this as I go. So I'm gonna put a tablespoon of the Italian seasoning. I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of garlic. I'm gonna put a tablespoon of cumin. Take these tops off of here because it's gonna be easier. So I'm just doing 1 tablespoon of the ground cumin. And I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of the chili powder. Okay. And then I'm gonna do my smoked paprika. Of course, I'm gonna do a couple of tablespoons of smoked paprika because I just love smoked paprika regardless. But I also want it for the color. Y'all know I use smoked paprika in a lot of stuff, so in almost everything I make. So that's 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. And then I'm only gonna put a little dash of cayenne pepper because I don't want it too hot. Because you know my husband will be fussing at me. And we don't want him fussing at me today. Talking about it's too hot. So I'm gonna mix this. It's kind of pasty right now. And that's okay. Because next thing we're gonna do is get in our better than bouillon. Excuse me, pepper is lingering. So I'm gonna put in some of my broth. So that's 2 cups, by the way. That's 16 ounces. So I'm gonna do both cups of that. I just wanna mix it in real good. And then what I really wanna do is make sure I can taste this a little bit. That's what I really wanna do, to see what type of flavor it has. Okay, put the rest of that in there. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is start mixing it. Oh, sorry, mixing it in here. But what I'm gonna do is grab me some gloves because this has gotta be kneaded really good. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab me some gloves. Okay, so I grabbed me some gloves. I actually wanna also put in my dehydrated or minced onions. I'm gonna put a couple tablespoons of that in there. Just gonna add to that texture inside of the loaf. And stir. And then also what I want to do next is actually I want to go ahead while I'm thinking about this just to make sure our jackfruit has plenty of flavor. I'm going to go ahead and mix the jackfruit in the wet liquid for a minute. And then let's stir that in there. So what I'm going to do, because this is actually going to be good, I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes or so. Just the jackfruit's going to be cold just to make sure that gets coated in that jackfruit. That smoky taste, so it'll be in every bite of the jackfruit when we mix it in. So what I'm actually going to do is just let this sit for about 10 minutes or so. Then we'll come back and we'll finish mixing it together. All right, so we're back. So this was a better part of almost 30 minutes because I did get sidetracked. And so the longer the better, the meat marinated. So we're going to go ahead and get our wet mixture with our jackfruit mixed in with our seitan. And then also we want to add just a little bit of fat in here because, you know, brisket has fat. So I got some avocado oil. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of oil in here. I'm trying to make this as much like meat as possible. So it'll help it. So then I actually made a little bit more broth just in case, but we might need it. But what we want to do is just fold this in here. I'm excited to see how this is actually going to turn out. Oh yeah. Let's get that mixed in real good. And what we want to do, once we get it mixed real good, we're going to make it, just shape it like a meat. Maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. Okay. Okay. Because what we'll use that broth for is if we put it in our pan, we need a little moisture down in there. We'll have it to put down in our dish. I just didn't know. The last time I was using seitan, it was really tough. And so that's why I made just a little bit more liquid just in case we needed it. But the way this is coming together, it doesn't look like we're going to need it. This is actually very, it's really loose. It's allowing me to, you know, mix it up really well. I think it helped by adding the jackfruit. Because working with just the seitan by itself and putting that other flour in there just helped it to not be so tight. If you've ever used seitan, you know what I mean. Or the vital wheat gluten, I should say. Okay, this smells really good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just I knead this for a couple of minutes to make sure all of my jackfruits down in there real good, and then I'm gonna actually put it on the pan and shape it to get it in the oven. So let me get a pan really quick. Actually, should get my pan out, but okay. I think I'm gonna get some parchment paper just so it don't make a big mess. I'll be right back. All right, so I got my pan lined. So this thing's a little loose to me. Again, I'm gonna add just another little half a cup. And I'm gonna be mad if I shouldn't. But I'm gonna add another half a cup of this gluten in here. Just because I wanna make sure that it's the right consistency as it cooks. Let me just go ahead and kind of mix this in here. Because the last time I used seitan, it was a little bit more elastically, if that's a word. So, just gonna add this in here. Knead this in. So I don't want to do all this work and then it's not got the right texture. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. It's a little bit better. So 2.5 cups of the Vital Wheat gluten is what I used. Like I said, the one may have been enough, but I mean the 2 cups may have been enough, but I'd rather be on the safe side because I do want it to have the meatiness texture to it. So, like I said, first time. So, you know, when you make it one time, then you go back and make it again, you pretty much know, you know, what you done wrong and what you need to substitute, take out, or add. Okay. So now I'm going to transfer this over to that, and I just want to really kind of mold it. It ain't got to be perfect. It's kind of like an oval shape. You know how you see the briskets on there? They kind of like, some of them are kind of like oblong shaped. So that's the look I'm going for. And just make sure all your jackfruit is just pushed down in there really good. There's some sticking out, just mash it in there. I am so excited because I hope this turns out good. Okay. And what we're going to do, we're just going to cook this in the oven for about 35-40 minutes. And then we're going to transition it to our barbecue grill outside just to give it that charred texture. Okay. So this is where I said I was going to put a little bit of mustard because I used to do, when I used to do my brisket and my pork roast, was it a pork roast where we used to do the pulled pork? I used to put mustard on it. It tastes so good. So I'm going to add just a little bit of mustard. Just going to rub that in there. I want to try to flip it over, which, you know what I'm going to do so I don't tear it. Work smart, not hard. So I'm going to add another little piece of paper so that I can flip it on the paper. Okay, let me move this over. All right. So forgive me if this is a long video, but I want to do it right. So now, actually, I guess I should have did this. Like that. Okay, I'm just going to fold those ends down. Now I'm going to get a little mustard on this side. Yes, baby. that's all we're gonna do for now. We're gonna get this in the oven and we're just gonna let this cook. Now, what you can do, I'm just gonna pour barely, just a little bit, just so it don't dry. Just put a couple little tablespoons of broth just down on it, just to have a little juice. Maybe 3 tablespoons. You may not need it, but there. And if I need more as it's cooking, I'll put more. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now, guys. I'm not even putting a piece of foil over it. I'm just gonna put this in the oven, let this cook for at least 20 minutes, and I'll check it. Then I'll go back and check it again if it needs to cook longer, or if I need to put more broth down in there. If I need to cover it, I will. I'll let you guys know that. But my oven is set to 350. It's already on. So I'm gonna get this in here and I'll be back. Okay, it was in the oven for 5 minutes, guys, and I was smelling paper. So I think what I'm gonna do is take my paper off here. I don't think I need the paper, and I think I'm gonna add some broth, more broth down in here. Because I always use parchment paper for everything, and I'm not having any luck with the parchment paper. So I'm going to remove this. If I can just get it out. Okay. At least the majority of the parchment paper off of there. Okay. So let me try to combine this back. So it was in there 5 minutes, and I don't like the way it's looking, because I need some more broth on here. And I think that paper and that little bit of parchment paper underneath there is fine. It'll come off when I take it out, because I don't want to tear it up. But what I am going to do is just add just a little bit more broth down in my pan, just so it'll cook. And all I did was coat at the bottom of my pan. Yeah, see that? Just put a little bit more down in there so it'll cook and be juicy. I don't want it to be dry. So that's all I did. But I want to show you guys before I put it back in there. So it was in there 5 minutes, and I took it out to do that. So back in the oven. Okay, so I just took it out of the oven. It cooked for 45 minutes. I did 25 and then 20. And this is, it's real tender. You can still see some juices in there. So I'm going to let this rest for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to go take it and put it outside on the grill, and we're going to barbecue it. So this is where we're at so far. And you guys can see, got a close up there. And then, like I said, it's good and firm, but I can see the juices down in there if I smash down, so it ain't dry, which is what I was wanting it to not be, was dry. But we're going to put it on the barbecue grill. So we'll go outside. I'll see you outside in a few moments. Okay, guys, so I'm out here. I'm going to use my grill plate because I don't want it to fall apart and get down in my grill. But remember, I had that little piece of paper under there that I couldn't get off, so I'm going to flip my pan over. I'm making this harder for myself. So we're going to try to flip this over on this grill. Okay. See, I had that little piece of paper under there. So now, let me get my spatula here. Okay. I'm just going to put that on there for a second. Yeah, I'm trying. And I got my barbecue sauce. I'm using the Sweet Baby Ray no sugar added hickory barbecue sauce. And I'm going to just use that little bit left. My husband's like, I got a little bit in there. Use that. So, okay. I'm going to put that on here. Yeah, I wanted to get the char, but I'm kind of scared to not use the grill plate. And then it'll be, if it breaks up, that's fine. I don't really mind it. But I don't want it down inside my grill either. So, just going to let that cook a little bit. Probably could have put a little barbecue sauce on the top of it first. And then flipped it over there, but oh well. I'm going to flip it around. Get something down all on there real good. Okay. And I'm gonna just let that cook on that one side for a second. Then I'm gonna flip it over on this side. And I'll add barbecue sauce on the other side. And we're gonna be almost done with this, y'all. So then we'll see actually how it turns out. Hope it turns out good. So, but we'll see. So I'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes, I think. So I'm gonna try to flip this without tearing it up. Okay, hold on. I wanna flip this over without tearing it. So, let me see. Y'all bear with me. This is not my forte on the grill. Dad, you think I can do that like that? Okay, hold on, y'all. It might tear a little bit, but if it does, oh well.
It's not bad.
Got it. Okay. Then we're gonna add just a little bit of barbecue sauce. Got a little char on it going. Okay. Some barbecue sauce right here. And we're gonna let this cook for maybe another 5 minutes or so. And we are going to take it off. We're gonna see what this bad boy tastes like. Okay. All right. So that's where we at so far. So I will be back and I'll be taking it off here and we'll take it in and kind of get a look and see what it looks like and tastes like. All right. So I've let that cook on there for about 5 minutes or so. And now we're ready to get this baby off here. Put it back on our pan. Okay. All right. And now back to the inside. All right, guys, here it is, our vegan briskets. I just want to give you guys a close-up. So now I'm gonna go back over here and we're gonna see exactly what it's going to taste like. So it was simple and easy, sorta, kinda, just a little, you know, tricks of getting it on and off the grill. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut into it. And I wanna see exactly what it tastes like here. Well, actually, you don't need to put it on anything. I can probably just cut this. Actually, I'm gonna have my husband come over here. Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Can I have your assistance, please?
Yes.
Come on over here, my love. He is the grill master. So y'all, he was critiquing me along the way. And on the camera, I was like, you are the grill person, not me. I'm trying this thing, okay? So, but he's helped me on the grill. I probably just, because the way I was grilling, you was probably like, girl, move. Move out of the way, please. So he was. He was giving me looks like, oh my gosh, she does not know what she's doing. But I do know how to work a little bit on the grill, but he's the grill person. You say no. Did you do like that?
I didn't do nothing.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to try to cut it. So this is how I would cut a brisket?
No.
Okay. How would I cut it?
Just cut it. You just cut it. You just slice it. If you was going to cut this, you would just slice it.
See? You
That's
want a
what you
rigid
do.
knife?
No, you don't need no rigid knife. You just slice it like it's a piece of meat. And
I
see?
think the rigid knife would be better.
You can use a rigid knife, but you want that.
It looks moist. Let me get the
Yeah,
rigid
it's
knife.
real moist.
Let me get the rigid knife.
I mean,
yeah. So that we can get down in there good. And go ahead.
because
Cut another piece.
you,
That way
yeah.
you can cut it good. Yeah.
And this is what I was talking about when it comes to texture. I mean,
Shoot.
the textures, I don't know. Let's see. We're gonna slice this thing, y'all,
Just slice a couple pieces.
and see what it because because
right
it's
there.
for me. I mean, it's probably good, but as far as the, you know, can't even find the words for it, y'all. But
The texture?
No, it's not. Yeah, well, the texture of it, the texture is fine, I believe.
Oh,
But it's just that when you slice it, it won't crumble all apart. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Well, you know, you got the edges here. Let me just
Well,
see.
So I'm saying I know it's probably good, but it's just that
I want them to see up
to hold it together. That's what I'm talking about. Let me try it. To hold it together, it's probably good. I know it's good. Did a good job on preparing it. To be honest, y'all, it's good, but it's more like a meatloaf to me.
More like a meatloaf?
Yes, more like a meatloaf to me, but it's really, really good. You won't be disappointed in making it, but it's more like a meatloaf to me.
And not brisket.
Right.
It's good in it.
It's good.
It's really meaty in it.
It's meaty. No problem. The jackfruit and everything is good. But
he said it looks like a meatloaf.
Yes.
But that's fine. But it's tender, ain't it?
Yes, it's tender. It's good. And, you know, you won't be disappointed when you make it.
Let me let them see what it looks like up front, up close, when it's cut into it. You said a meatloaf. But...
Yeah, it's more like a meatloaf. It's not like...
Well, it's not going to be. See it? Can they see it?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you see that? This is the texture. Ah! That's the texture. It actually tastes really good, and it's really
good,
moist.
but the texture could be a little bit more tighter. If you you're trying to make slices, because if you're trying to make slices,
but you think once you get in here, it might be a little tighter?
I don't know, because from what I'm looking at right here,
Let me just dip it.
you know, it's gonna be good in there. I already know barbecue sauce is excellent, but like I said, you see the look at it. You see the texture of it.
I see it.
It's it's a little different. It's like more like a meatloaf.
Okay.
But like I said, you won't be disappointed. It's good. It's really good, you guys.
I'm eating it today because it tastes good.
I already know it's good. It's good.
Okay. There you have it. First time. Practice makes perfect. But I think it turned out for my first time pretty doggone good.
Yes, it turned out really good, you guys. It really
the flavor is there. I think the flavor is spot on.
Yeah.
The texture is juicy. It's juicy. Like you said, you want it a little bit more firm.
Yeah,
so
a little more firmer so you can slice it like a brisket. That's the only thing. Like the texture there that you have is more like a meatloaf. So
maybe add maybe a half a cup more of the vital wheat gluten. So maybe instead of 2.5 cups, maybe 3 cups to compile it a little bit. But the jackfruit, I think, gave it what it needed to be like the meat.
Gave it that meaty taste.
Yeah, like a stringy meat.
Yeah, the stringy meat taste. But you know, if you want that solid, like you cut a slice, like you cutting a piece of ham or something, you don't want it to fall apart. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's vegetables.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah, I understand it's vegetables, but yeah, still. There's a way that you confirm that, but you did a great job.
Flavor,
first time, baby.
The flavor and everything, I think, is spot on. It's got the meat texture. It's good and tender. Yeah. So you guys, if you try it and you like it, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And of course, share this video. Yes. And if you haven't already subscribed to Cassandra's Kitchen, subscribe, you guys. And again, from my kitchen and to yours, we love you guys. Be blessed.
Be blessed, you guys.
Peace. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.